right, y'all. Well, I'm ready to go and test out my new intertidal rod that I built. I built two of these, one for me and one for my dad. I've got them numbered 1 and 2. Really excited to try this thing out. It's the first rod that I've ever built. First, before we do anything, I want to give a huge shout out to Matt Poole with Ninja Tackle. He's the one that sold me the blanks. It's a Ninja Tackle built blank, and they're the ones that build Ninja Dagger rods. They're probably my favorite spinning rod that I've ever used at the beach. I bought a bummy stick this last spring and was really amazed at how it loaded up when you're going to cast big plugs. What that means is the tip has got enough give in it to really launch those baits while it still has enough backbone far enough up the blank to stay good and stiff so that you can throw with having the confidence of not blowing your rod blank all to pieces. I have busted some rod blanks before that were just too stiff. Reason being, most of them are made out of graphite. Ninja uses a graphite and fiberglass mix, so you get the stiffness and the lightness of the graphite with the backbone. And then once you get out toward the tip, you've got that flex and the strength of fiberglass, which is a great combination for saltwater fishing. Also, fantastic combination for big catfish. So we're going to get this out to the local football field, and we're going to see how it does. Hopefully when I cast, the reel seat or the eyes don't blow completely off of it, since it's my first rod. But I honestly think that I did a very good job. And I'm not just bragging, like I'm actually surprised. Like it turned out way better than I expected it to, and actually even looks good. So very, very happy with the build. It would not have been possible if it wasn't for Matt at Ninja Tackle. I'm going to say that again because I talked to him on the phone a couple of different times, and I know he's a busy, busy man. Really did not have time to talk more than likely, but still spent the time out of his day to go over with me how the eyelets need to be set, gave me some pointers on what size eyelets to use and why. I'm going to go over that when we get out there to the field. But just was really nice enough to walk me through this, give me some measurements and specs so I can get started on my first rod and get it built right instead of wasting all my money and ended up with a piece of junk by the time I got done with all that time and effort. So thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. If y'all ever want a jam up fishing rod, go to ninjatackle.com and the Ninja Dagger line. He's got anything from 7-foot travel rods all the way up to, I believe, 12-foot rods. And all of them are just about as good as they get. In my opinion. So guys, we're going to get everything loaded up, get all my camera equipment together. We're going to head out to the football field. We're going to see how this thing does. All right, guys, this is going to be the first test of my new rod, the intertidal. This right here is a 9-foot. Throws a 2 to 4 ounce lure. It's a medium, heavy, fast action. Y'all can see it's got a little bit of give in the tip. But this is a long rod. It's a big rod, just a workhorse made for, you know, really big fish. And I built it with a Baitcaster handle on it. It's got this palmable reel grip on it, so when you cast and are reeling, you can keep that behind your hand. You can keep your palm or your hand open as you're reeling, especially against these real big baits. What I've got on here right now is a 3.5 ounce Sputnik weight, and I'm going to throw where goalpost, even with the goalpost right here on this football field, we're going to throw and just see how this thing casts with some different size weights and stuff on it. All right, let's go see where that thing went. Here it is right here, right dead in line with the 40-yard line on the opposite end of the field. So add 10, that's what is that, 50, 60, 70 yards? Right at 70 yards. Pretty good chunk for a Baitcaster. On my 7.5-foot rod, throwing the same reel, I've got a Tranks 400 on here. It's 20-pound monofilament. With the same reel and my 7.5-foot rod, I could throw about 50 yards with a 1 to 1.5 ounce lure. And then I would start losing distance as I got heavier up in weight because the rod just wasn't enough to handle the heavy weight. It was a really stiff rod. It was rated for up to 2.5 ounces, but it was a graphite heavy action. Didn't have any tip give to it, and I've already shattered one blank throwing big lures up over 2 ounces before, and it just feels like it's going to break the rod once I get up to those heavier baits. So let's give this thing another chunk and see if we can get it any further than 70. Whew. wants. That one made it almost right to the 30. A few more chunks. I might be able to hit that. Maybe I can hit that 90-yard mark anyway. I'm going to build some 8'6" rods too that are built the same way, but they're a thinner diameter blank, little bit. It's still a medium heavy, fast action, but it's got a little bit more give to it. And you'll be able to throw a little bit lighter lure on that rod than you will this one. All right, I'm going to give us one more chunk, hard as I can throw, just assuming I'm just trying to break the line. See if I can get it any further than 80 yards. Ugh. I can't throw any further than that. Wherever that landed, that's as far as I can cast this thing. That's the farthest, right just dead at the 30-yard line. So I mean, that's a 80-yard chunk right there. It's about as far as I'm probably going to be able to get with a 9-foot pole, but I'm very satisfied with that. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to tie a 1-knocker Zora spook on here and see how it throws on this 9-foot rod. This is what I will probably need the 8'6" for. It's going to be a little bit too much rod for this bait, especially since I got a wind blowing straight in my face. Those lures are not that heavy, but I'm just curious. It feels really light at the end of this. I throw better than I thought I could with it. About 40 yards. Yeah, right at 40 yards, so that ain't too bad considering how light this is on this giant rod. But it's got enough give in the tip to where it'll load up pretty good even with a lighter rod. We'll try one more bait. I've got an ES lure with me, and I'm going to try it just to see. This is one of the smaller versions. I think this is looks like about a 2.5 inch, I reckon. Just a little metal casting lure. This year, this has quickly become one of my favorite baits to throw because it's so streamlined in the air, unlike most spoons, and you can get really good distance casting it. Cool thing is too, this is the smallest one I believe that they make, and they've got a few that are longer, bigger, but they were too big for my old rod, and that's what I would actually prefer to be using as the big size. See how this thing does. Oh wow. We're gonna walk that off. That was surprisingly great. Dang. It's the 50 right there. It went just past 50-yard line. So that's 60 yards. See the 50 right there. That's a 60-yard cast with this little tiny metal on a 9-foot rod. Y'all, that is awesome. If I can cast this that far with that, once I step up a size, it's going to be a killer bait. These little things are fantastic. Caught a bunch of Spanish mackerel on them back in the spring, and I think it would also probably do great for redfish in the fall. We also caught a few speckled trout on them, but they're just great little lures. Y'all can see they're kind of an oval shape. It's not cupped like a spoon is. Don't have any flat sides hardly. It just has great aerodynamics. They make them in a whole bunch of different colors and sizes and stuff, and I don't know, it's just kind of become one of my new favorites. All right, it is a 9-foot medium heavy fast action. The butt on it is about probably 1.5 feet, a little bit more than 1.5 feet. When you're holding on to the reel, you've got about 7.5 feet of rod in front of you, so that when you're fishing on the beach, you're not hitting the sand, you're not having to hold up as much rod in front of you, the rest of it is behind you, but you've still got that extra length to hold on to cast. Y'all can see how I was using that for leverage when I was throwing, just like you would a big spinning combo. It has got the weighted butt cap on the end of it, where you can add weights to this if you wanted to, but the way I've got it balanced right here at the nut on the reel, you see that's a 9-foot rod, and it balances right there at the reel seat, just in front of the reel, which to me is about the most comfortable place that you can have it. It's got your trigger set back here in a palmable position instead of the regular trigger that usually goes between your fingers. This one you can put at your palm, leave your hand open while you're reeling or popping big poppers, so you're not burning up your wrist while you're trying to do that. To the extended butt, you can pop that with your elbow, give that rod action instead of having to use your wrist, which is what I was doing with my bass rods, but I was having to tuck it under here to do that right there, and it just gets uncomfortable. Sometimes, I mean, there would be days I'd fish for 6, 8, 10 hours, and with this right here, you can do that with a lot less fatigue, keep your hand in a more natural position. It has got shrink wrap grips on it. It's got this, the shrink wrap kind of has this tape looking stuff around it, which is not sticky, but it's got really good grip to it. On it, it's all handwritten, intertidal, powered by Ninja Tackle. It's got the specs on it and my signature. It's going to have the number of the rod and my logo on it. Also, the nut on the reel seat is the higher quality extended nut, which is going to give you more threads holding your reel onto that reel seat. Fuji reel seat. It also has Fuji alkanite guides on it. I can put titanium guides on it if you'd rather. They're more expensive than these guides. Or if y'all prefer, I can down build you a rod for cheaper than this. This is going to be the premium edition, basically. It's going to have all the fancy faded inlays. It's basically going to look exactly like this rod with all the different inlays and wraps and stuff. I can build one a little bit faster and make it a little bit cheaper if it's solid black. I can also go with some cheaper guides and stuff on there too if y'all don't think you need alkanite or Fuji or whatever, you know, if you want something a little bit different. Too, it would make a killer catfish rod. So if I was going to build a catfish rod, I could always go with regular stainless guides and stuff like that on there, and probably save you a considerable amount of money building a more catfish style combo that would probably hold up pretty well too in salt water, as long as you were sure to really spray it off, keep it good and clean. The sizes of these eyelets start out at a 20, go down to a 16, then it's got 2 12s, and it's got 4 number 10s. Even the end eyelet on here is a number 10 eyelet. What that allows, and I've just learned this recently because I normally throw monofilament from the beach, but guys that are throwing braid that are going to a shock leader or a monofilament top shot of some kind are using number 10 eyelets to make sure that that knot travels through those eyelets. From what I was told, the number 8s, as you neck down a little bit smaller, the knot starts to hit those eyelets and it's just not quite as efficient. So I kept this with the number 10s. Now I can also go down on the size eyelets if y'all need something with smaller eyelets on it. Not a big deal, and that will probably also save you a little bit of money. But anyway, guys, really appreciate y'all watching this video. Hope to see y'all on the next one. If y'all would like to get in touch with me about one of these rods, y'all holler at me on in the comments below, and I'll try to get a way to, you know, private message y'all. I'm also on Facebook, Cedar Ridge Whitetail Taxidermy, the Cedar Ridge Chronicles, or I'm about to make a Facebook page for Cedar Ridge Custom Fishing Rods. So be looking on there pretty soon for that, and y'all can, you know, start following me on there. I'm gonna probably start building some rods and just put them on there for sale, just as I come up with some different ideas and stuff too. So yeah, y'all send me a message on one of those pages or comment below on one of the comments, and I'll try to get in touch with y'all and give y'all a little bit of price and stuff like that, depending on what exactly specifics y'all are looking for. And I will see y'all in the next video.